Hi everybody, this will be part 14 of a character modeling tutorial series. Last video we corrected some edge loops, which is really going to be important for us when we start to get our ear shapes in here. So one thing we can do is we're going to start extruding out the ear from some faces along the head. It might be good to add another loop in here, so let's go Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, and drag in another loop. This will be kind of the back edge loop for the ear. I'm going to extrude that out a little bit. We'll come back and correct really kind of the thickness of the head at this point. So we'll extrude that one out. Let's go ahead and try to select this edge loop. Maybe round that out just a little more. Move it back some. There we go. That should be a good start for some faces for the ear. Maybe I'll come in here, a couple of these loops or edges right there, fan them out a little bit. A good tool to kind of relax things is the relax tool. So under the sculpting section, this third tool over here is called relax. So with this tool, it evens out some faces. So as you see, I'm going to do this again when we get to the rest of the head to smooth out some of the forms like the forehead and whatnot as we add more loops. But overall, this is a pretty good tool that allows us to relax some features out. You see it kind of evens out some forms. So definitely want to do that for the ear before I start extruding some of the ear shapes out. All right, so what I want to do a little bit is to come in here with kind of 6 faces. And let's turn off soft select for a minute. Make my value down to 5. And I do want to kind of move it forward a little bit because the ear is a form that's on the side of the head, not too far back, but something along these lines is a pretty good start. So that should be pretty good. We want to make sure we have the right loops, and then we can start extruding out. I might scale them down a little bit because the ear really is from the center of the eye down to the center of the mouth, roughly. So I want to take 6 faces. That's going to start me off with a better ear extrusion. So with these 6 faces relatively on the side of the head, I'm going to do extrude. And let's just do offset to begin with. So let's do a 0.2, 0.5 offset. I want to round this off a little more, create a generic ear shape before I start extruding out the form. So from this front side, we can kind of roll that back, make sure the other side's doing it as well. Let's kind of start to curl the back a little bit, but what we're looking for is a generic ear shape before we get too crazy with extruding this form out. So we'll start to kind of lean this back some more. We'll lean that back this way. The ear shape is definitely the most dynamic and complex shape of the body with some of the line work, and what I'm going to show you here is just a blocked out, somewhat stylized version. The line work in the ear is pretty irregular, so we can't just extrude everything without creating triangles or ingons. So this is going to keep with everything with quads, but try to develop as cleanly but a little bit stylized version of an ear. So we'll do that as our base form. That's a pretty good start. So there's a lot of ways to model ears, but the easiest way is to come in here, start with the base form, and let's take those 6 faces now that we got it into an ear shape roughly. Perhaps we can come and move that out a little bit. The more we finalize or set up now, the easier things are going to be later. So we can also come in here and kind of blend some of these a little more, so those lines aren't as drastic for later. Here we go. Not too bad. All right, so now in face mode, these 6 faces, I'm going to hit extrude, and I'll get the move tool and just move it out. Okay. It might be helpful to kind of rotate it so the front edges are closer to the skin, the back edges are further away, something like that. And then I'm going to take the edges, the front 3 edges of that newly extruded face, and drag that back some to blend that a little more. Try to zoom in here so you can see a little easier, because the front of the ear is a smoother blend. Okay, that looks pretty good. Looks like a good start. Maybe the bottom of it is a little bit more pulled out. All right, so now what I can do is take all of these faces from the top all the way to the bottom. Zoom in, I'll show you again. Just making sure I didn't have any other faces selected. So all the faces except for the front three, and extrude those out. And this might be good if I actually do use the arrow, which with the mirror tool sometimes, or symmetry tool sometimes, it'll show on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do is from the local translate Z, extrude that out. So we can get now the top extruded part and the lobe from this extrusion. Now this might be good from this point to get the move tool and just move that away from the ear as well. Okay, so we have a little bit more definition. What I can do is select some of these edges on the back side and move them out even more. Okay, but on the front side, or the front side of the character, that's too crazy of a motion or extrusion. So we're going to come in here and kind of move it around, blend that back towards, rotate it a lot, and we'll scale it some. Blend that back towards the base of the ear. And then this one's just too crazy as well. Scale that in and move that back so it's blended a little more. Move it back this way. Here we go. We'll take some of the vertices, kind of blend them out. Take some of that, blend that out a little bit. All right, and maybe we'll take this edge, blend it a little more. Okay. So next what I'm going to do is just take some of the vertices and kind of even them with the rest of the forms that I've created. Move that out some. Okay, maybe the bottom side doesn't need to be this extruded. We'll pull this one out a little bit. But like this edge could be moved back some. This is the lobe. Need to correct this a little bit. All right, we'll blend that back some so it's a little bit smoother of a blend. Rotate it this way some. There you go, starting to look more like an earlobe there. All right, so we can now kind of even some of the forms out before we start to delve into a little bit more of a rounded form. What I'm going to do is actually move these outward. So let's go turn the edge slide constraint again on. I want to move these close to the outer corner. We can move down a little bit. This is going to help me create that definition for the outer ear. Okay, so we'll do all of that. There we go. We'll blend this down a little bit. We don't want that to be too crazy up there. Okay. All right, my turn edge slide off, and I'm just gonna take some of these corner points on the top, move them in so that's a little bit more of a rounded area. Yes, that'll be a little bit more rounded. There we go. And this is going to be important for my next step as I start to work on still the outer ear, but a little bit more rounded forms here. Right. Blend this one right there a little bit more. There we go. So the outer ear has a little bit more rounded shape. All right, so here comes the complex part. We can cut this up with the multi-cut tool to get the exact forms that our ears would use and create, or we can try to make it a little more stylized but still get the rough forms of what our human ear would be. What I'm going to do is take these 6 faces again, and I'm going to extrude, but I'm going to use the offset tool, 0.5, 0.4, something like that. So that'll start to get my outer lobe created there. This also is going to give me some definition of where I can come and extrude my ear in for the inner ear. All right, so that's a pretty good start. Let's extrude this again. This time I'm going to get my move tool and move that back some. That creates that distinction from the outer section of the ear. All right, so that's a pretty good start. Now I can come in here, let's just refine this form a little more to kind of a rectangular shape, I guess, if you will. And let's take this face right here and extrude that in. We'll scale it in a little bit. Move it back some, maybe rotate a little. And then this is going to be for the inner ear. Right, so we'll extrude again, we'll move it back, start to taper it so it's more circular, although I only have one face selected here. You can always add some more loops later. Rotate it and I'll extrude it back again, scaling it in a little bit each time. Okay, we're doing a stylized ear, so we just really need enough so that way we can see that there is like an extrusion there. All right, a couple more things and that'll be it for the ear. We really do need the part that kind of covers the inner ear. So if I take this face right there and extrude that out, I get the move tool again, extrude and scale down, not that much. Everyone's ears are slightly different, so once again we're going to go for a stylized look here, and then we'll extrude again, we'll move it out and scale it vertically again, so that way we kind of have that exterior section that some people have a little more exaggerated shape of it, some people don't. So we can kind of rotate it there, perhaps rotate it back a little. All right, so last thing is the line work of the, well, it's really still the outer ear, but the inside area of the outer ear. And an easy way to kind of fake or block out this detail is to select now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. Let's do extrude and offset again, and we'll do 0.2. There you go, that's a good start. And then now with the vertex tool, because this is the area that kind of is bulbous, I actually extend out the furthest part horizontally on the ear. So we really want that to be kind of outside of the other outer loop of the ear. And then now we can come and blend this a little more. This one can come forward and pulled out a little more. There we go. So we have some pointed areas, but that's at least a good start to the ear. Now we can kind of formalize it according to the individual ear that we're looking for. Everyone's ear is very similar in these basic forms, but then everyone has maybe longer lobes, higher arches on the ear. There's one other thing we can really do to finalize the ear, and that's to add a couple other edge loops for that bulbous part behind the ear. With this edge loop that goes, or that we can eventually select, that goes all the way around the ear. So that's a loop that goes from the back all the way around. We can bevel this, so maybe 0.2, well, we'll just leave it at 0.5. Let's use our edge slide again, and in vertex mode, let's fan this out a little more so that those aren't so close to the original form that we have. You know, that's all right under there. Maybe I'll come fan those out a little more. Let's turn off the edge slide. If you want a more defined lobe, then we can kind of pull this up. Kind of pull that in and move this out some more. Okay, maybe this vertex could move in. Pull that this way. Pull that this way. Continue moving on. This is really going to be like the start of the bulbous part of the ear, so we can kind of pull that back. This is the top of the ear, so that would need to be pretty close to the center area there. We'll move this one down, so that way we have a little bit more definition for the top of the ear, like that. All right, so let's add another edge loop. So let's go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, and put another loop there. And that's pretty fanned out pretty well. Maybe we'll come back to the edge slide, move everything out a little bit more. You can always come and reduce that drastic change later. All right, let's take this and kind of fan this back down. But what we did that for was to create like this bulbous shape that's behind the ear, where the ear canal comes through. There you go, and to create this kind of bulbous out shape with the back of the ear. We'll try to get an angle, and we'll move that one closer to that form. mess with some of this stuff a little bit more. Blend this out a little bit. There you go. There we go. All right, but that bulbous shape is pretty important to get the ear to look really natural there. We can still define that form a little more, but that's at least a good starting point there. All right, so this video talked about blocking out the ear. We do want to make sure from a zoomed out standpoint that the ear isn't too far back. I think that's pretty good for right now. From the front view, we also want to be able to see the ear as well and see the definition, the bulbous area. We maybe can come back to that bulbous section and kind of pull that out more. Maybe not have it tilted that way, so something like that. There you go. We can always define the ear shape for this individual character a little bit more later, but that's at least the overall ear shape in detail to get somewhat stylized but still believable looking ear. All right, so that'll wrap up this video.